California. The name conjures up images of golden beaches, Hollywood glamour, and towering redwood forests. But increasingly, California is also becoming synonymous with a more devastating image: wildfire. Year after year, the headlines tell the same story: homes lost, communities evacuated, and skies choked with smoke. Wildfires have always been a part of California's landscape, but their frequency and intensity have reached unprecedented levels in recent years. This raises a crucial question: why does California experience so many fires? California's unique geography and climate make it particularly susceptible to wildfires. The state's long, dry summers create an abundance of dry vegetation, primed to fuel any spark. Add to this the human element: millions of people living in close proximity to fire-prone areas, and the stage is set for disaster. The problem is complex, with a confluence of factors contributing to the increase in wildfires. Understanding these factors is the first step towards finding solutions. The consequences of these fires are far-reaching. Lives are lost, homes and businesses are destroyed, and the economic impact is staggering, but the damage extends beyond the immediate aftermath. Wildfires release massive amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, contributing to climate change, which in turn increases the likelihood of more frequent and intense fires. To understand California's wildfire problem, we must look back in time. Fire has always been an integral part of California's ecosystem. For centuries, Native American tribes used controlled burns to manage the land, clear underbrush, and promote new growth. These fires, small and frequent, played a crucial role in maintaining a healthy balance. The arrival of European settlers disrupted this delicate balance. Colonization brought with it new land management practices, including fire suppression. While well-intentioned, this approach had unintended consequences. Without regular fires to clear out the underbrush, forests became denser and more susceptible to larger, more destructive fires. The gold rush of the mid-19th century brought a massive influx of people to California, further increasing the pressure on the state's forests. Mining, logging, and agriculture all contributed to deforestation and habitat fragmentation, making the landscape even more vulnerable to fire. The legacy of these historical practices continues to shape California's wildfire situation today. Decades of fire suppression have created a backlog of fuel, ready to ignite with the slightest spark. And as the climate warms and droughts become more frequent, the risk of catastrophic wildfires only continues to grow. Climate change is acting as a force multiplier, exacerbating California's wildfire problem. The Golden State is already experiencing the effects of a warming climate, with rising temperatures, prolonged droughts, and more extreme weather events. These conditions create a perfect storm for wildfires. Higher temperatures lead to increased evaporation, drying out vegetation, and creating more fuel for fires to consume. Droughts exacerbate the problem, pushing vegetation to the brink of desiccation. And as the climate warms, the snowpack in the Sierra Nevada mountains, which provides a vital source of water during the dry summer months, is diminishing, further increasing the aridity of the landscape. Climate change is also influencing the timing and duration of the fire season. What was once a distinct season is now blurring, with wildfires occurring earlier in the spring and lasting later into the fall. This extended fire season puts additional strain on firefighting resources and increases the risk of fires overlapping and merging into megafires that are difficult to contain. The link between climate change and wildfires is undeniable. As the planet continues to warm, we can expect to see more frequent and intense wildfires not only in California, but in other fire-prone regions around the world. Addressing climate change is not just an environmental imperative, it is also essential for mitigating the devastating impacts of wildfires. In Southern California, there's another culprit that often fans the flames of wildfires: the Santa Ana winds. These dry, downslope winds originate in the Great Basin and blow westward towards the Pacific Ocean. As they descend from the high desert, the air compresses and warms, becoming extremely dry. These winds can reach hurricane-force speeds, whipping up existing fires and pushing them rapidly across the landscape. The Santa Anas are notorious for their role in some of California's most devastating wildfires. They can turn small, manageable fires into raging infernos in a matter of hours. Their dryness also makes it difficult for firefighters to contain the flames, as the winds can carry embers for miles, igniting spot fires far ahead of the main fire front. The combination of dry vegetation, high winds, and steep terrain creates a particularly dangerous situation during Santa Ana wind events. These winds are a natural part of California's climate, but as climate change continues to alter weather patterns, there is concern that these wind events could become more frequent and intense, further exacerbating the wildfire threat. Faced with this growing crisis, California is taking steps to address the wildfire problem. One key strategy is to return to the wisdom of the past by using fire as a tool to manage the land. Prescribed burns, also known as controlled burns, involve intentionally setting small controlled fires under specific weather conditions to reduce fuel loads and improve forest health. These burns mimic the natural fire regimes that once shaped California's ecosystems. By removing excess vegetation and creating breaks in the landscape, prescribed burns can help to prevent larger, more destructive wildfires. They also provide a number of ecological benefits, such as promoting new growth, improving wildlife habitat, and reducing the risk of insect infestations. In addition to prescribed burns, forest management practices such as thinning out dense stands of trees and clearing vegetation around homes and communities can help to reduce the risk of wildfires. These practices aim to create more resilient landscapes that are less susceptible to large-scale fires. However, implementing these strategies is not without its challenges. Public perception of fire can be a major obstacle, as many people associate fire with destruction rather than its ecological benefits. Funding for forest management and prescribed burns is often limited, and the logistical challenges of conducting burns safely and effectively can be significant. When wildfires do erupt, California has a robust firefighting force ready to respond. The state boasts the largest and most sophisticated wildfire fighting agency in the world, CAL FIRE, which works tirelessly to protect lives, property, and natural resources. California's firefighters are highly trained and equipped to handle the most challenging fire conditions. Modern firefighting techniques involve a combination of ground and air resources. Firefighters on the ground work to create fire lines, digging trenches to contain the fire's spread. Air tankers and helicopters drop water and fire retardant to slow the fire's progress and protect structures. New technologies, such as fire detection cameras and computer modeling, are also being used to improve fire detection and response times. However, the increasing frequency and intensity of wildfires are putting a strain on firefighting resources. CAL FIRE has faced staffing shortages in recent years, and the cost of firefighting is skyrocketing. As climate change continues to exacerbate the wildfire threat, finding ways to improve firefighting efficiency and effectiveness will be crucial. The aftermath of a wildfire is a scene of devastation. Homes are reduced to ash, forests are charred, and the air is thick with smoke. But even in the face of such destruction, there is hope. Communities come together to support one another, rebuild their lives, and find ways to adapt to a new reality shaped by fire. Rebuilding after a wildfire is a long and challenging process. It involves clearing debris, restoring infrastructure, and addressing the emotional and economic toll on those affected. It also presents an opportunity to rethink how and where we build our communities. Building codes are being updated to require more fire-resistant materials, and communities are exploring ways to reduce fuel loads around homes and businesses. There is a growing recognition that we need to coexist with fire, adapting our lifestyles and infrastructure to be more resilient in the face of this ever-present threat. Protecting California from the threat of wildfires is a shared responsibility. It's a challenge that requires collaboration and action from individuals, communities, and government agencies at all levels. We can all play a role in reducing the risk of wildfires and creating a safer future for California. Homeowners can take steps to create defensible space around their homes by clearing vegetation. Homeowners can take steps to create defensible space around their homes by trimming trees. Homeowners can take steps to create defensible space around their homes by using fire-resistant landscaping. Communities can develop and implement community wildfire protection plans, or CWPPs, to identify and address wildfire hazards. Government agencies need to provide adequate funding for forest management. Government agencies need to provide adequate funding for prescribed burns. Government agencies need to provide adequate funding for firefighting resources. They also need to work to address climate change, which is a major driver of the wildfire crisis. The wildfire crisis in California is a complex problem with no easy solutions. But amidst the challenges, there is hope. By understanding the factors that contribute to wildfires, embracing a science-based approach to fire management and working together, we can create a more fire-resilient California. This means rethinking our relationship with fire, recognizing its ecological role, and learning to live with fire in a way that minimizes its destructive potential. It means investing in forest management, prescribed burns, and community preparedness. And it means addressing climate change, which is essential for mitigating the long-term threat of wildfires. The road ahead will be long and challenging, but by working together, we can create a future where wildfires are a natural part of the ecosystem, not a catastrophic threat to our communities and our way of life.